On this episode of Cape Media News, tornadoes hit Cape Cod. We take a look at the damage. Big Nick's Ride for the Fallen celebrates its 10th annual memorial ride. The Centerville Historical Museum hunts for ghosts with T&K Paranormal, and we get a shark safety update from the Atlantic White Shark Conservancy. These stories and more, this is Cape Media News. Hello and thank you for watching Cape Media News, your local authentic newscast for Cape Cod. I'm Gabrielle Rawson. This has been an especially tough week for residents and tourists on Cape Cod. In what is being called an extremely rare event, 2 tornadoes touched down this week, downing trees and taking out power lines all over the region. The towns of Yarmouth, Dennis, and Harwich sustained the most damage, with more than 90,000 people losing power and many more displaced. Cape Media News' Ivan Rambajan collected footage of the aftermath. Emily Tulloch reports.
Two known tornadoes impacted the Mid-Cape area on Tuesday, July 23rd.
We heard wind. We could feel underneath the doors. The wind was coming right through the windows from the bedrooms. TV went out first. We couldn't see the news girl anymore. And then the electricity went out.
The first touched down west of Calamus Beach and traveled through West Yarmouth around noon. It blew the roof off the Cape Sands Inn before making a second touchdown in Harwich. "100-mile-an-hour winds were reported all across Cape, with Dennis and Chatham sustaining heavy damage.
So my neighbor's tree came down and then the branch broke off and shattered the picture glass window in the front, and then the glass came in the house, so just cut me, but we had to clean up all the water, so it was insane. We were watching the news and then the power went out and we knew that it was coming this way, and then the kids went in the back bedroom, and then all of a sudden the tree came down, we heard it come down, and then the front window, a branch broke off it through the front window.
According to Eversource, around 90,000 Cape properties lost power. They worked to restore power, starting in the heavily impacted areas first. Harwich was hit the hardest. Only 7% were left with power. DY High School and the Harwich Community Center quickly set up emergency shelters for those affected by power outages Tuesday evening. Libraries and other businesses provided spaces to charge electronics or grab a hot meal during the days that followed. Agway of Cape Cod is partnering with Brewster Animal Care and Adoption Center to provide affected families with pet supplies for those in need. Eversource crews will continue to work around the clock until all power has been restored. In Dennis, for Cape Media News, I'm Emily Tulloch.
In the last 50 years, only 3 tornadoes have ever touched down on Cape Cod. As of the taping of this show, power has been restored to all Cape towns. Every year for the last 10 years, a memorial motorcycle ride in memory of United States Marine Corps Corporal Nicholas G. Exaros takes place to honor veterans past, present, and future on Cape Cod. This year, the ride started at the Barnstable County Sheriff's Office in Bourne and ended at Yarmouth at DY High School. More than 1,000 people rode in Big Nick's Ride for the Fallen last Saturday. Emily Tulloch reports.
Engines revving, American flags flying. The 10th annual Big Nick's Ride for the Fallen kicked off. Thousands of motorcyclists traveled across Cape to honor United States Marine Corps Corporal Nicholas Exaros and other local veterans past, present, and future. The ceremony began at the Barnstable County Sheriff's Department in Bourne. Riders traveled from Bourne to Yarmouth, where locals were lined up at DY High School to cheer them on. Stephen Exaros, father of Nicholas Exaros, says inspiration for this motorcycle procession came from his son's funeral escort 10 years ago.
I never rode a motorcycle. It was after Nick was killed, and when we were being escorted in the funeral, I heard that sound. And I said to Lisa, did you hear that? She said, yeah. And I said, you know what, we're not alone, and we'll get through this. And we were lucky to start this ride, and started with 300 motorcycles. Now it's around 1,000.
Exaros emphasizes this day is not only to commemorate those who have fallen, but to celebrate the veterans who made it back.
We honor our fallen. We say their names. We ring a bell after each name. We'll never forget them. But we also want those that served and made it home to live their lives and feel the thank you. So this ride, a lot of it is the people on the side with the flags and the thank yous and the salutes. It's very powerful. You cry and then you feel proud, and it's been 10 years.
Also honored this year were the 7 members of the Jarheads Motorcycle Club that were killed in a crash in New Hampshire on June 21st.
We were one of the original clubs of Marines that escorted Nick's body home when he came back from Afghanistan. So we've been with Steve and the Exaros family with this ride since the beginning. I think it's very important to bring awareness to what actually, the sacrifices that are made by our, brothers, sisters, sons, daughters that go off and serve in the military. It's a reminder of, what can happen. You don't always come home. And it's us to pay tribute to those who didn't make it home. Those are the real heroes.
William Donovan Sr.'s son, Will, was a Marine and a member of the Massachusetts Fallen Heroes Memorial Motorcycle Club. He was also killed in a crash.
My son, Will, was a Marine, made it home from Afghanistan with 2 Purple Hearts. Used to find the IEDs and disarm them. Got blown up twice and walked away. Came home and joined the Mass Fallen Heroes Veterans Motorcycle Club and was killed on a motorcycle. It just helps carry my son's name on. This town has been not only so motorcycle friendly, but veteran friendly, more so than anywhere in the country. I have family and friends from off the Cape, and they say they've never seen anything like it. To honor the fallen, they need to know that what they did matters.
Kip Diggs participates because he knows what it's like to lose someone.
My son died in a car accident, and I can relate to everybody losing their spouse, child, whatever, loved one. So I'm here support, and this is about showing love. And I think they've done an unbelievable job. You say, oh, it's gonna get better. It never gets better because we lost our child, and it's a continuous thing. You know what I mean? And so it's never any good, but it's comforting to know that we have love and support in all of this. And the money that goes is going to a good, worthy cause. We hate that we have to do this. We'd rather have Nick here, Craig here, Kevin Houston here. I coach them in football, so I'd rather be able to be partying with them now instead of doing something like this. But to do this they fought for our country, for us to be able to be here is what a tribute.
Big Nick's Ride for the Fallen happened on July 21st. All proceeds raised go to military and first responder charities and programs. For more information on this organization, visit ngxride.com. In Yarmouth, for Cape Media News, I'm Emily Tellick.
If you'd like to ride next year for Cape Cod's Fallen Heroes, you can learn more about Big Nick's Ride for the Fallen at ngxride.com. Up next, we visit the Centerville Historical Museum during a ghost hunt.
We are requesting assistance in surveillance for a tick that potentially could be here on Cape Cod, Asian longhorn tick. It was found originally on a sheep farm in New Jersey in 2017. Then it was found on another sheep farm in another county in 2018. There have been subsequent findings in states adjacent to New Jersey. I suspect that it is being moved through the interstate movement of livestock. In the summer of 2019, it was found in Connecticut, so it's on our doorstep. We're asking people who own animals like sheep, horses, goats, and alpacas to inspect their animals, particularly if you've acquired animals from out of state. No diseases have been associated with this tick as yet, but it has the potential to cause a very large tick load on the animal that could affect its health. Asian longhorn ticks are rusty, reddish-brown with no distinct markings. If you happen to find ticks meeting this description, please contact me. Thank you.
Welcome back to Cape Media News. I'm Gabrielle Rawson. Cape Cod is a place that's rich in history, so much so that some believe those who lived here in the past are still among us. The Centerville History Museum says they've experienced some unusual activity. Could it be ghosts? They teamed up with T&K Paranormal Research Society to investigate.
Whether you believe in ghosts or not, there's no denying that Cape Cod has a rich and diverse history. The Centerville Historical Museum at 513 Main Street in Centerville teamed up with T&K Paranormal Research Society to learn what they could about the building's history and to validate what some have reported as supernatural activity on the premises.
We thought we heard Randy's voice,
the executive director.
and he was in Yarmouth at a class. And then he simply said, "Hey guys."
That's what you heard.
That's all we heard, and we all three looked at each other.
And in addition to that, I had heard stories from Barbara, who's our president, that there have been times when the gals were down here working on something and they could hear what sounded maybe like books falling off the shelves upstairs.
I walk out of here more times than not, and I'll look at my shoulders or something and I'll say, I don't know where I got that, and I don't know if that's from here. But you know, like I'll be walking up the stairs. Like I remember I was walking up the stairs from the bayonet. We have a bayonet room, a war room upstairs. And like 2 weeks ago, I walked down and I had 2 long scratches down my back. And I don't remember feeling them, but I remember looking behind me, and then they were there and then they were there, and they looked like they were new. They weren't like healed over.
Deborah Del Negro met T&K Paranormal Research Society at an event and thought maybe they could bring their expertise back to the museum.
I went to a recent event where they were, and I found them pretty exciting. I also found what I liked about them was they were really in tune with the historical piece to it. And I thought it might be a good fit for the museum, just for the information and to maybe learn a little bit more about who was here before us.
T&K Paranormal Research Society is a small team that detects activity using the latest research equipment and techniques.
So we will be here over the next 2 nights. It's a 2-night investigation back to back. We started setting up here about 4:30. We should start the investigation about 8. We'll go until about 1 a.m. At that point, we'll break for the night. We're actually going to leave all of the cameras recording for the night, for the rest of the night, tomorrow, and then until we return. And tomorrow night, we will return to start up the investigation again, starting at about 6 o'clock. So we have 12 cameras set up over 2 DVR systems. We have an 8-camera system, a 4-camera system. We've got 3 cameras from the media center, so handhelds with night vision that we'll be using throughout the entire investigation. We have 2 different spirit boxes which we will use, which basically cycle through the AM or FM frequency stations at a set rate, and you can set that rate. And the theory behind it is that you ask questions and the person listening will get the answers.
My name is Susan, and I am not here to hurt you. I'm just really interested in what's going on here in the house.
Many of their investigations are taped as part of their television series, Paranormal Occurrences, which airs on Comcast 99.
So we do have a show called Paranormal Occurrences. We've been filming for that for quite a while. It's on a local access channel. It's through the Cape Cod Community Media Center and Channel 99. So you can find our show at Paranormal Occurrences on Facebook. And you can also get to there through our Facebook page, which is T&K PRS. That's on Facebook, or tkprs.org, which is our website.
And even if the ghost hunt is unsuccessful, the museum says there's still much to gain from the experience.
One of my personal goals is to try and get a little bit of a younger demographic excited about museums and to become personally involved in their village's history. This museum is absolutely lovely, and we want to make sure we share that ongoing once we're eventually gone.
The museum plans to unveil their findings at an event in September. To learn more about the Centerville Historical Museum or T&K Paranormal Research Society, visit them on Facebook. In Centerville, for Cape Media News, I'm Gabrielle Rawson.
And you can visit the Centerville Historical Museum yourself at 513 Main Street in Centerville. They're open Tuesday through Saturday from 12 to 4. Up next, learn shark safety tips with the Atlantic White Shark Conservancy. It's shark season 2019, and the Atlantic White Shark Conservancy is busy working with the Division of Marine Fisheries to tag white sharks off our Cape Cod coastline. But when they aren't tagging and studying shark behavior, they're teaching and educating the public. We attended an information session they held at the West Barnstable Fire Department to learn more. Cape Media News reports.
When it comes to white sharks, it seems there are more questions than answers. How many sharks are in the water? When is it safe to swim? How deep is too deep? The Atlantic White Shark Conservancy is working to answer these types of questions. We joined them at an information session in West Barnstable where dozens of people gathered to get the facts.
We are here at Barnstable Fire Department just giving our shark talk to teach the public about the research that we are doing, as well as our conservation efforts, as well as the public safety efforts that we are collaborating on. Well, sharks, as you said, they're a very popular and very interesting animal, to say so, at least, especially since these sharks are coming close to shore here. We want to make sure that people are knowing about the research that is going on, but also how to be safe in these waters.
The event was hosted by the Weldon Memorial Library in West Barnstable and held at the West Barnstable Fire Station.
We really, we try to serve the community and find the things that they most are interested in. And like I said, it's summer and this is the topic of the time. But we are always looking for good programs, educational programs, that we can offer the community. And a lot of times they come and tell us what they would like for us to do.
The Atlantic White Shark Conservancy uses their research to educate and inspire conservation.
I think the Atlantic White Shark Conservancy is doing a great job in educating people, and that's going to be really important.
I didn't know how much that the organization does in terms of their research, so that was all very interesting.
I grew up on the Cape, and I just wanted to find out the safety and the information more about the sharks so we could be safer at the beach.
It was really good type of questioning and type of trying to set everything up. It was really good.
I actually grew up in Florida, and I didn't know the fear of the ocean, and I used to see how deep I could go and all kinds of things on a surfboard, and I have really changed that outlook as I've gotten older. And being up here, we never saw great whites down there.
I've been interested in sharks for a long time, and I've followed the research over the years, and I just think that they're amazing animals, and they're just part of our wildlife and our community here. So I just wanted to see how the communication was for people, and trying to help them understand the importance of them, and then also how to be safe.
In collaboration with the Massachusetts Division of Marine Fisheries and the Cape Cod National Seashore, the Atlantic White Shark Conservancy has developed a series of safety tips.
As the Conservancy, the National Seashore and Public Safety Officers, we are saying that you do not want to go more than waist deep when enjoying our waters here off of our coastline, specifically on the ocean side of our Cape. As well, if there is a seal in the water, it is suggested that you do get out of the water as well. That is the shark's food source. And then as well as we do have our app Sharktivity, so look at that to see if there has been any recent shark sightings in the area as well. So those are some some few tips.
It's really up to me to manage what I do and my behavior in the water. I love the water, but it's really up to me, like what I do. And the sharks are just, that's their home, that's their habitat, they're just doing what they do. It's up to me to figure out how I'm going to manage my behavior.
To host an Atlantic White Shark Conservancy information session, you can reach them at atlanticwhiteshark.org. In West Barnstable, for Cape Media News, I'm Gabrielle Rawson.
And the Atlantic White Shark Conservancy will continue their collaboration with the Division of Marine Fisheries in the coming months, this time to begin a new wave of research to better understand shark behavior. If you want to learn more about their research, or if you'd like to host your own information session, you can contact the Atlantic White Shark Conservancy at atlanticwhiteshark.org. Well, that brings this week's episode to a close. Please follow us on Facebook for more local daily news coverage, and thank you so much for watching. We'll be back next week with a brand new episode. With Cape Media News, I'm Gabrielle Rawson.